In a rapidly expanding omniverse of sci-fi content, two Terrans try to make sense of it all. From the latest to the greatest to the most thought-provoking science fiction content on the screen, we bring you Crowded Space Podcast!
Hello and welcome to Crowded Space Podcast, episode 13, Total Frequency Edition. Today we're bringing you highs, lows, and static of this cultural phenomenon, Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever! Yes, I'm your host, Eric.
And I'm your other host, Jarod. And today, with Total Frequency, I figured would mix it up a little bit and start off with the lows, especially since this was a little bit of a roller coaster of emotional ride of a Marvel movie with its two funerals. So,
If one's not enough, right?
Yeah, but before we get into the low notes, figured we'd just give a quick recap of what this movie was about, and it's really following the nation of Wakanda as they're dealing with the death of their Black Panther hero and King T'Challa, and essentially them having to deal with another superpower on the planet in the form of Namor. And I am Namor.
Namor.
Me amor. No more. Namor.
No more.
And I've got plenty to say about that character as we move along.
The biggest thing for me is, just before we start into the lows, is the fact that they definitely gave a good send-off to the former Black Panther, which really sucks because it was a great. Black Panther was one of my favorite movies out of the MCU that came out.
Yeah, I mean, it was really nice that they took the typical Marvel comic role of pictures at the beginning.
Yeah, they put them all in there.
And was all just...
That was awesome.
Just of him.
Yeah, it was awesome. And the fact that the funeral march and everything was kind of like taken from multiple tribal funerals in Africa. So they kind of went with that.
Was it?
Yeah, that's what that's what I read about it.
I was wondering, where they got the idea to suck the coffin into.
Well, no, not that part. Come on.
How bigger that was. I'm like,
Well, 2023, it's technology today. So that could happen.
It kind of I brought that up because it really wrecked the tribal feel of it.
It did.
And then we'll suck it up into space.
It would have been cooler if they would have lowered it into the ground or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a way they could have used levitation that would have been cool and made sense, and that wasn't it. It was just weird. But anyways.
Anyway.
Speaking of low notes.
Yeah, I guess we could go right in.
That's the most static level, but why don't I do
Yeah,
one
go
of the
for
first
it.
low
You
notes?
start your low notes. You wanted to change it up?
I guess I already hinted at it anyways, which was... There's not one, but two funerals in this movie, and it was still made for good storytelling. But in terms of low notes, I have to bring it up because it's a little bit of a bummer. It's like, oh, really? And to some extent, I think it would have been made a little bit more palatable if they didn't start off with T'Challa's funeral, boom, right there at the beginning. It would have been nice to have some sort of refresher of what Wakanda is before it's just like, oh yeah, boom, we got to deal with
the funeral.
The sick king. And again, I get why they had to do it because they lost the actor and all of that. And I guess that segues into another kind of low note for me is that if you hadn't recently watched the first movie, this one doesn't hold your hand.
Yeah, it does.
It's
definitely.
not like, remember this, because the bracelets, they just use them for everything, and they didn't really re-explain. Yeah. I'm sure there's vibranium in them, so they can just do everything from being a defibrillator to a communicator to a jammer to a power source to whatever. Yeah,
butt beads. Yeah.
I'm not supposed to bring up space cock, but you want to use. You're talking about vibranium mantle beads. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I agree with you on the two funerals, and obviously, there's going to be spoilers. Yeah, it was kind of a bottom her, especially when the queen, she was kind of like the bread and butter of the show. Like the rest of the actors are okay, but she's just like, she just brings it up. Like, when was it Angela Bassett? She just really brought that. She just brought the whole sense of sovereignty and
Yeah, and Shuri's just not regal, right? She doesn't have that quality.
No.
And that's why the loss of the queen was so devastating, both to the viewer and to Shuri, because she's like, I'm a nerd. I don't. And it does seem like they're setting that up, that Shuri is not going to keep up with the Black Panther role. She's going to go and find herself and learn how to be a leader, maybe.
I don't
Is
know.
where they're
Maybe.
going with that arc.
Yeah, I really wanted the Kia, I call her the super spy, the one that found Shuri when they were in Atlantis. Remember her, the one that snuck down to.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna be Black Panther.
Nakia.
I was like, man, that sucks. I should have made her Black
Her
Panther. She's
suit
got all this
at the
skill.
end was so cool with their iridescent colors, and then her trim physique just made it like boom, wonderful.
So my low notes, I felt like it was a CW DC TV show, like on cable. Just with the whole music, like I swear we must have had at least like 40 minutes of just soundtrack video. I call it, oh, here we go, we're playing videos now, like, like from MTV, which just, I don't know, it just like, for me, it just breaks the whole movie up in a bad way. It doesn't like keep me immersed in the story. So
Yeah, especially if you're trying not to have your speakers too loud, and then it's one of these movies where it's like, oh, lots of music, and then music and dialogue. The
talking.
music's so loud you can barely hear the dialogue.
yeah.
I did think that they could have just used silence more often. As we were talking about before,
Maybe the writers can actually write lines for the characters.
I didn't find the. Oh, do you have some examples? I didn't find the lines and the acting.
No, I mean, I'm not
that
talking
stuff or
about
anything.
during the speaking parts. I'm just talking about during the music video parts. It's like, if they seem like fillers.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not on the writers. That's on the audio producer.
The movie is already almost 3 hours long. Like, and if you cut out all these like, 3 or 4 minute friggin' music scenes, like, I don't know. I just think they definitely used it more than the other MCU movies that kept it flow going and the adventure high. But in the end, I think superhero burnout is coming around, and I think it's affecting even the most diehard people that are still like into the superhero stuff. So, at least for me, anyway.
Yeah, other low notes. You just didn't like the overall tone of it. Didn't seem to take itself seriously enough. Or...
No, like I said, I just felt it was like a CW. Like, if you've ever watched CW, like Flash or any of those shows, sometimes they have like fillers where they have music in between, and it's just like, why are we doing this part?
Right.
And don't get me wrong, like
It makes it feel a little bit more
the
like
tribal music they have going on is awesome. It's just like awesome. I love that. The different type of style that they have.
whoa! Slow your roll on the high notes.
Oh yeah, we're rolling into the high notes. But anyway, I just wanted to show you I wanted to show you the difference between what I mean, the regular music. I think like Rihanna did a song or something like that. Just like the Pop-Tart stuff. I could care less about it.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more like a Bollywood movie. When
Exactly.
They're just playing music for the sake of.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the
That's
sake
exactly
of
what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, Namor. I really. I thought it was a pretty good take on him. I like that they switched it up instead of Atlantis. It's a Aztec kind of culture there, and
Like his first debut in Marvel Comics, 1939, dude. That's how far away he goes.
right. Was that Fantastic Four? That's how I mostly know him.
I think
honestly,
it's like
is
Marvel
through-
Tales, maybe? Something like that.
Oh, okay. Kind of like Spider-Man and Amazing Tales.
Yeah, but he was definitely into Fantastic Four a lot, right?
Yeah, because in his origin in the comics is that the Queen of Atlantis had a affair with a sea captain, and because of
That
being
sounds familiar.
yeah, because he's interracial, then
No, I'm also talking
he's-
about Aquaman, but that's a totally different place.
Oh, Aquaman. Yeah, that's not. It's not. It's not talking about him.
It's Nibble.
Yeah, so it's a totally different take on the character. I like the idea of them going keeping with the original, and that he's mixed race, and having that kind of angle, but whatever. Because my mom drank a bunch of vibranium, I'm super powered, works more or less.
Well, it's like a filler, right? Just to fill it in.
Yeah, but in general, that his character was just a little, for someone that's supposed to be that old. I'm like, oh, he's that sheltered and not that.
He's like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, and his ultimatams and rash choices. And it's like, we're friends. Oh wait, you don't want to.
You're either with me or against me.
It's like, how about they're just neutral and you do whatever you do, and they're not going to stop you, but they're also not going to help the other team. Like, that's what would have happened until you knew that they existed. So,
yeah.
So that was kind of a low note for me, that his character wasn't as, mature and well-rounded. Yeah, maybe hashed out's really what I'm looking for.
I will come to Wakanda, and I will kill you.
Take the kid gloves off.
Well, hey, we're in the bad, aren't we?
Yeah, call it how you call it. Yeah, well, the low notes, but also just in
the low notes,
in sad and in the grieving and all that. I mean, it certainly had its place, and I did appreciate Shuri's kind of character arc, and I guess Killmonger is kind of a mixed high note, low note, because it was really disappointing for her. It was a low note, like, oh man, the thing that I
what
did,
the hell?
The sacrifice I made, kind of for the wrong reason, because I really just miss my family
the
so
hell's he
much that I
doing
wanted
here?
to see them. I was like, oh my god, it's Killmonger. I was like, yeah, no, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes
I feel
you
like
get,
it was like, hey, you want to go play some video games or something?
yeah,
Screw the
sometimes
rest of this stuff.
sometimes you get what you need and not what you want. And
Yeah, pretty
and that's
much.
what that was. So
Yeah.
Any other low notes for you before we push along?
So yeah, we'll run to the next one.
Yeah, on with the high notes.
Oh, we're doing the high notes.
Yeah, I think
Awesome.
there's some. Yeah.
Switching it up.
You want to kick off with something that you liked?
All the old casts that are there kind of brings it. It has that, and again, it's kind of in between the low and the high, because like you said, if you haven't watched the first one, you're gonna miss out on the characters from.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You wouldn't
in
know
the second
the
one.
relationship between Everett Ross as an agent and the Wakanda, and
Yeah.
he mentions once near the end, "Oh, that you saved my life." I'm like, "Oh, that's right, they did. That's okay." That's why he's willing to commit treason for them, essentially. So.
Right. Yeah, that's and that's one of my things about it, and like the music, the tribal music during the fight scenes, like
Yeah, well, the whole court
Spot
scene at the
on.
beginning, right, where they're showing how seriously
So
they are,
good.
and they cut
So
in the
good.
fight scene.
dude, it fit the role
then
so well. I was
show-
like, this is awesome. This is
Yeah.
gonna be great. And
No,
I'm
because
like, oh no, so here comes the CW music. Oh man, it's like,
All right.
you ruined it. Why do you have it?
duly noted, Eric doesn't like kids pop, I guess.
Well, the problem is I've watched, that was the filler back in the day. There was no Marvel or anything like that. There was just CW and like Arrow and all those shows. So that's where I got my superhero, itch scratched. So I kind of see all this, like, because it's all like teeny type of stuff where he's in love with her and then she's in love with her and then all these different things, like.
Well, at least there wasn't that in this. It wasn't like a lot of teen
No, but
romance
the music
or
part,
whatnot.
the music was
It just had
kinda-
to use the music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
It didn't get to me as bad as you, but I can definitely see what
But
you're
yeah,
saying.
the characters, the old characters, they were all there. The really good ones that I enjoyed in the first Black Panther. So
Well, then, and also the new character and how they introduced Riri, like, because she's ultimately supposed to be Ironheart, right?
yeah,
Is her character.
That's your good. Is that a good for you?
I liked her suit. I thought there were some good moments with it. I like when they're being attacked in her garage. I was like, oh shit, she's got an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
I like that scene. For you, it's just a cheap knockoff, and there's no replacing the Tony Stark.
Well, you see my note on that, right?
No, I didn't get that far in.
The Stark 0.0.
Yeah, it's.
But
you
anyway,
can't compare. You can't compare.
We'll get
Don't
to the
compare.
static. We're not at the static
She's
yet. We're
doing
at the-
her own thing. She's
We're
doing
at the
her own
good.
thing.
We're
Come
at the
on.
good.
She's
Like
a
I
college
said,
student. Cut her some slack.
The old characters were awesome. I enjoyed all of them. Yeah, I thought the story, the send off to the Black Panther, the King T'Challa was really well done. I think that was really a good farewell for him. So
Right.
that was definitely another one of my.
Yeah, no, they hit that tone just perfect.
Right,
You know,
and I think they kind
sad
of
and
I think they kind of
respectful
they kind of made it less of an impact when you had the second funeral. And I think if they would have just like not have that, they would have been a better. It's kind of like the good and the bad with that part, because I feel like the second funeral kind of took it away from the first funeral. So
one good thing that came out of the second funeral, I'm like, okay, it's on. This is Game of Thrones style movie. Anyone can go now. And so, when Shuri at the end got stabbed, I'm like, oh, she's dead. Okay.
oh,
someone else
she's
is
not.
gonna-
Oh man,
Someone else. M'Baku's gonna be the Panther.
dude, I'd be
End of that
sad.
line.
I totally would love to see.
Well, that
Black
line's
Panther.
over. End of story. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's a high note, but it's at least made that stab believable. That they're willing to kill anyone if they're gonna
I do.
kill
I
off the
I like the
Queen
fact.
Ramonda.
I like the fact that the fight scene was not overly dragged on. I think it was just the perfect amount of time between her and Namor.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, in general, all the fight scenes, I thought
Sure,
the
Namor,
pacing, they were long but not too long.
Yeah.
They were satisfying, great choreography. And, that was one of my first high notes was at the beginning when they're attacking the ship after the vibranium detector sounds off.
Yep.
The sirens coming out and calling the people, and they're just walking off, and people trying to figure out what's going on. That was a great
The battle
kind of
scene in that too
introduction
was good.
to Namor. Now I'm like, which way do I say it? The stupid way or
Namor.
yeah. That's a little bit more static, but that it's not Atlantis, and they went with Talokan instead, and it had a
Well, they're
real
trying to
different
do,
feel,
like,
because
the
Atlantis
whole-
is cool. I always like the legend of Atlantis.
The
So
whole
I do
thing
like
was
to see it
awesome.
used. So I-
Submariner's the whole thing in the comics. I love Submariner. He was really good. He was like a really.
Oh, well, he's always trying to steal away Susan
Yeah,
Storm.
but he's
so I'm
kind of like he walks the
yeah.
gray line, dude. He
No,
walks
it's
the gray
true.
line.
Yeah, he's been helpful, but he's got his own thing going.
Yeah.
And again, it's just one of these things. It's like, oh, he's got that clean shaven baby face. That is the character. So to see them
kept
played with official hair, and it's like, oh, but you're more aquatic. You think aquatic, you're streamlined. You don't have the facial hair.
Do you have more?
When Black Panther transformation takes place and she punches the suit through the wall, more or less.
Yeah.
And then Riri's like,
Can I get some of that too?
I thought was pretty funny. And then you're watching it, and they synthesize this big huge bowl of it, and then she just takes one little mouthful. It's like, come on, like, I know you've got this tradition, but
Pass it around.
you guys are under attack, so maybe you should share it.
What do you think about Julia Dreyfus being the new director? She was kind of in there.
Yeah, well, let me answer that in a little bit after
Okay.
I talk about. I mean, Nakia's character was definitely a huge high note for me. Not just super cool. I like how she's a spy, and she,
the super
she
spy?
came out. Yeah,
Dude, I think she's awesome.
She came back
She's like-
out of exile to do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Her suits always look just spot on, awesome. And it was a really enjoyable character. I totally agree with you. She would have made a great Black Panther.
I totally was
protector,
disappointed. I
so-
thought for sure.
We'll-
and
we'll
I didn't
see.
look at any spoilers or anything. Because I wanted to go in there with a fresh set of eyes. And I thought for sure, it'd be like, they're going to pick her for.
Well,
you're going to pick her for
Think
Black
of it this
Panther.
way too, though, that she could be the queen. She's the queen mother,
Yeah.
right?
Technically.
Especially if
Unless she
Shuri
gets
doesn't-
killed. Sure, he kills her or something.
Yeah. Well, who knows? People can get mad with power.
But no, I like the fact that she's kind of like she's a diamond in the rough, kind of like a character where she was always like exiled or not at Wakanda, but no matter what, like the first one, T'Challa went to find her, and then the second one, they went to find her to do this, to be the infiltrator, and it's just I find the character like fascinating. I wish there was more of her in the story.
Yeah, we'll
instead of
see.
introducing like new characters, like focus on you got some great cast, and they had really hashed out their character. I mean, even with T'Challa in the first one, he was definitely the star of the show. But the women that were with him that were playing, they were a part of the story as well. They really did a good job. Like they really did a good job portraying their character. You didn't know much about their character, but yet they portrayed them as well as they could with the screen time they were given. And some of these women are just, I mean, some of them are like they shave their head, like they're bald, and they're just so statuesque. Like it's just like a work of art.
Right. Yeah.
It really is. It really is. Like wow. And they portray their characters amazingly well too.
Well, so wrapping up with the high notes, let's move into the static.
Uh-oh, here comes the static.
Whoa, watch out.
You want me to start? Or you got to start.
Well, since I left it lingering and you asked me what I thought of Julia Lewis playing Valentina Allegra, the director, I thought it was such weak acting. She stuck out like a sore thumb. I felt like she was calling it in.
Maybe I'll drop by sometime and jump on your Peloton.
Yeah, I thought they could have gone with just about anyone else for that
Well,
role.
the reason
and it would have
is
been
that
an
she's in all the other Disney Plus shows from Marvel that kind of sets the tone for the Thunderbolts.
Probably fulfills some contractual obligations that they had.
Well,
for
not
her
only
at
that, but they're
Disney
supposed to
or
set the
whatnot.
story for the Thunderbolts, like the Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad. That's why she's kind of in there.
Okay, so we're gonna see more of her. You think?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. maybe she finds her.
She finds her groove. She does the
She's
dance.
great and a lot of other things.
She does the dance.
Yeah, I didn't really appreciate her in this at all. How about you?
Well, you know what mine's gonna be.
Let's hear it.
Riri Williams, man. Just take her out. You didn't even need her there. You could have just gave the suit to somebody else. You could have gave it to the friggin' what was his name?
the suit.
Everett, right? They could have gave it to Everett. Everett, here's the suit. You're part of the team. You're not just the white guy that's getting arrested and brought to jail.
I guess he's trained. Yeah. He's pretty much not going to go back to America anytime soon. So
No.
they should give him a suit.
Yeah, they
for
should have given him the
shows.
suit. They should be like, here's your suit.
Well, Riri
It's
had
like-
her own suit. Really,
It's like
They
Iron
need
Man, but
one.
really not like Iron Man. No, dude, they don't even. Yeah, that's my weak sauce right there.
Oh,
Riri Williams,
well,
get her out of here.
Along those lines, I also agree that it's weak to use her as the reason why Namor was gonna go apeshit on Wakanda. It's our only vibranium. Okay, so you sent it out without reverse engineering and understanding how it works to make another one. Like, no, that's stupid. Yeah, I get it. She invented it. The cat's out of the bag. It's stupid to think that, by killing the inventor, they'll never make another one. It's like, nah, they can make another one. It might take a little extra time. She can probably speed it up. Yeah, she's special. But that was, the reason to have her character in there was weak. And if you did take her out, then it's a 2-hour movie. Works on its own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just think they had. Well, how do we get her in here? Right, this new character, Riri Williams, is supposed to be like the MCU version of Tony Stark, and it's like, let's make her the inventor, and she's the one that invented the detector. There you go, she's in. Like, no, it's.
I still wanted
Didn't
her
work.
to sneak some of the
Didn't work.
the Black Panther juice on the side, and then
Dude.
she's both super powered
Yeah.
and in a Stark
But-
suit. Would have been nice.
It just
but
didn't work. The character was weak, and I don't think it held their own compared to all the other veterans of the second story, the second movie. And I just think it's like, well, we got her in here.
Oh shit, am I getting recruited? No.
And that's how they got her in, just making her the inventor, the one that Namor wanted to get rid of.
Yeah, I didn't mind her in there, but I totally agree with you that the shoe is shoehorned in there, and
Dude,
you
she
could have had
totally
a
was.
nice tight 2-hour movie If
You didn't even
if you
need her
took
in
her-
there. There's
took her
plenty
out,
of story
even
to go
though-
around.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know what would have been cooler is the Queen would have had that suit.
Oh man.
If the Queen, if they wouldn't have gave her, if they wouldn't have killed her off, and she would have got the suit, they would have had the battle, and at the end, something happens to her.
Yeah, no,
And then-
it is a
and
little
then it's
silly
like-
to be like, oh, hey, this guy, we don't know how powerful he is. We're kind of scared. He's coming after us, and we've got all this tech and suits, and we don't put our queen in a kick-ass suit. Does
Dude,
seem a little.
That would have totally been the perfect, changeover to have the suit, and have it, and keep the Queen around because she was a stellar actress and held most of the movie like through all her parts. But at the end, something happens to her, and that's how we transition to and like 40 minutes in, she dies. Now we have another funeral.
when they were showing the normal people, the average citizens in Telecon, hanging out and swimming, they were so awkward, and it just reminded me of like cheesy mermaid that you go to a Camp Wikiwachi or something and you see the people,
Or you go
Breathe
to a
the
bar
air
that
and-
has a tank. And there's people swimming in it.
yeah. I'm like, wait, they've been underwater for 300 years and they're just kind of wiggling around, flopping to. No, I mean, no, when they showed this, the warriors and had the CGI and they were smooth and convincing and looked good, but when they actually had the live actors kind of in there, I was like, ugh, you just took me out of this. Because when they were approaching the city and you're seeing it,
should have
and then
CGI'd
the
them.
vibranium power source. Yeah, I think they should have,
Because I think
just didn't look-
Aquaman's Atlantis was much better depicted than I think the MCU's Atlantis.
Yeah, I do appreciate they tried to go for something different, even though for the extras it really failed. I thought the extras and yeah, it just looked like a bunch of people holding their breath and being real awkward and cold. So
Yeah, they didn't look like they were having a fun time. They tried to smile and everything, but
good cut.
Can we get a breath now?
Overall, were the addition to the MCU, would you watch it again, or would you recommend it to your average Marvel fan?
If you like to be what is the completionist series?
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, you should watch it for that. But I mean, it's got some good parts in it, but it really didn't do anything for me, honestly.
Okay, yeah, I thought I had some great scenes and good pacing and
Like I like to send off to T'Challa. I think that was just amazing.
Yeah,
Take Riri out.
yeah.
Take
Do
her
what
out.
we did. We watch it in 2 sittings, the first hour and 40 minutes, like a normal movie.
I watched it.
And
I
we
watched it
watched-
in one setting.
and then we watched the other hour. Yeah,
So yeah, doing it in 2 is probably the best way to do it because it's long.
and then I would recommend that you
You need to watch the first one.
Yeah, freshly. There were some plot points I forgot. I'm like, wait, Nakia, she's awesome. Wait, why is she exiled? And yeah, so I'm glad they give you a little bit of hints along the way. Well,
Oh, we did. Is that it? We finally did the Wakanda Forever. We said we're gonna go see it in the theater.
Yep.
We never did. And you know
Proven to
what?
our
I'm
listeners.
glad we didn't.
you've proven to our hardcore listeners that indeed we were worth our word.
And
When we
as a
say we're gonna
hardcore
do
listener, I
we are gonna
appreciate
do
that.
it. Yeah, exactly. And signing off, I'm your other host, Jarod.
And I'm your host, Eric. Have a good one.
Yeah, and remember, it's not the destination.
It's the journey.